this room, and I was just going for the basics. Like it's very important to understand. Like once you are going through these kind of new acronyms, NFTs, and all those things, what will be the common kind of security aspects, like for a there are different wallets, there are different things to do, and if you don't follow the basics, you will land up in a big trouble, maybe now or maybe in near future. So like there will be a lot of guidelines, security aspects, like if you're using a wallet, what will be the cold wallet or a hot wallet, or what are the basic stuff you should be knowing as a basic person. So if you have something on that for the benefit of all the audience and everyone, that will be of great appreciation.
I
Thank you very much
Adrian, I
for
think
I,
you've learned some of these lessons the hard way, so I'm going to
the
leave this one for you.
the hard way, yes. So if you go to my website, wowisme.net, I apologize. I used to have a way for you to do it with just a text message. If you scroll down near the bottom, there is an opt-in form, and it's called the Crypto Wallet Security Worksheet. It's 10 pages, and it goes over all the do's, the don'ts, the hardware wallets, the software wallets, and a handy dandy worksheet that you're going to use every single time you make a new wallet so that you can copy down and preserve your information so you don't lose your shit like I did for 48 hours. It
oh.
was it was very, very stressful. I lost my MetaMask. I also lost 2,500 Bitcoin in 2009. You can imagine the guilt I feel over that. So don't be me. Just use the worksheet. It'll also talk to you about fireproof safes, fireproof paper, the difference between the hardware wallets, some less expensive stopgap measures in between, and all this other stuff. But you definitely want to be safe and secure.
Can you give us a couple of, just a few top tips from that sheet, Adrian?
Absolutely. Do not screenshot your seed phrase. Guess what happens when you screenshot it? If you have an iPhone, it goes into your iCloud. If it goes into your iCloud and somebody sim jacks you, which I've been sim jacked twice, they have access to your iCloud and everything, which means every single photo you've ever taken. So don't do that. And also, if you save it on your hard drive, then it is also kind of mirrored in the cloud. So if you're going to save anything, you want it on a flash drive external that you then keep with your paper in a fireproof little folio in a fireproof safe. If you want to have it in a way that you can cut and paste and copy it and not have to retype 26 hexadecimals, I show you how to do that. But there are a lot of different ways to preserve your phrases. And the other thing that is super important to understand, you're not going to have one wallet. If you actually do start to get into crypto, and you'll realize not everything lives everywhere. You can't hold everything in one single wallet. So you're going to have multiples. And that gets very confusing. I think at last count, I had 40. It can get very confusing. And then at one point, I did a whole audit while I was trying to find my MetaMask. And I ended up finding about 14 wallets that I had had for 5, 6, 7 years, didn't even remember. And I found stuff in there. I was like, wow, look, I have some money I didn't know I had that used to be worth like a penny. And now it's worth like $100. I can't tell you how many pairs of shoes I got. It was great.
Shoe
Yeah,
shopping is
this is a
important.
big issue. Even just wallet management, right? Not only
Yes.
do you have to keep track of the assets, but you have to keep track of because you also are going to have wallets on the desktop and on the mobile, and you have a hardware wallet or several hardware wallets, and then you have to keep track of which assets you have where, right? And even just managing all of those private keys is a big deal. You need to have some discipline around that.
That's great advice. Did you have any other questions, Ahmed?
There are some cases being reported in the last few weeks. Like even despite you buy a correct NFT, there are not legitimate people, and they later on, once you purchase some NFT, they remove the pages from OpenSea, and people are cribbing, and there are so many other stuff is going on in Clubhouse. I have gone through some spaces and all. So what is the ideal way to reach out if you want to buy some NFT? What are the due diligence and what are the aspects you should be considering before considering this NFT or whatever you want to do in your wallet? Um, any specific things you do, and maybe anything of benefit for everyone? Thank you very much.
Sure. I mean, what you're describing is called a pump and dump, and there's certainly been situations like that where you invest in crypto and or you invest in NFTs and then find out that they're not legit, or the person selling the NFT doesn't own the artwork that they're selling, and there's a number of different things that you can get in trouble with. I think what I've heard consistently from a lot of folks in this space that is that it's very important that you participate in the community and understand who is there and who's involved, and you want to see that there's a lot of activity from a lot of people, not just five people who are posting endlessly, but a bunch of people that are very excited and very interested. And you can find that in a Discord space or Twitter or a couple other places, but you really want to see that there's a widespread interest. Adrian or Eric, did you have any other thoughts you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, just a quick note when Jeanette says the community, that most often means a Telegram group or a Discord channel or something of the sort with a whole bunch of people, sometimes 2,000 or 5,000 people. And you have to be super careful that you join their community because there are spoofs out there. There are people who set up Telegram channels that are actually fake. They're not the official Telegram channels, and so there are people there whose only purpose is to scam you. Even in the official channels, you'll get people who PM you directly and pretend to be the admin or have the same ID as someone who is an admin in the channel, and you can be easily misled into thinking that you're talking to someone who's official. And they have very, very clever ways of getting you to divulge information or to give them tokens, or they'll propose these amazing deals where if you stake your tokens and you send them to this address, they will give you 10 times or whatever this thing is, but it's ultimately just a scam. So you have to be super careful with those communities as well.
Oh, I have a really good one I just found the other day. Oh my God. This was actually quite brilliant. And if I did not used to break into banks for a living, I might have fallen for it, but I've been around a while, so I knew this wasn't real. So basically, this company, I was trying to go to Sushi Swap, and they had a redirect where they SEO'd their redirect page as Sushi Swap, and it layered and iframed it, and then it did a pop-up that said, connect your wallet, and you go to connect, and it says, please re-enter your seed phrase to continue using MetaMask. I cannot tell you how many people I bet fell for it because it was picture fucking perfect. Pardon my language. I mean, it really was beautifully done and completely not true. I went through the whole thing and I did the little, I traced it and did a block trace and everything. It was absolutely a scam. So the other thing that they do in Telegram is there is a piece of software that back in the ICO days we used to use to not for scamming people, but just to build up our groups, where you can literally take every single member of another group and auto magically add them to your group. How fun is that? So talk about being able to make like a fake Telegram group that's like uh, make it like the giveaway channel for XYZ project, right? You add everybody from XYZ project to that giveaway channel, and then you send them to one of these links where all they have to do is sign in to claim, and then it asks them for their MetaMask seed phrase in order to continue, and then boom, you've stolen everybody's stuff. Like you have to be so careful and never give your seed phrase ever, ever.
Yeah, I also wanted to, it reminds me of something else. the way to tell that a particular Telegram channel is official or not is because you find it on the website of the project, right? But you'll find that people will spoof the website as well. So one of the things that happens is if you're not careful and there's an O, they might, if the domain contains somewhere an O, they might change that for a zero. Or there are certain characters that certain Unicode characters that maybe look like an O or look like an L or look like some other part of it. And so they'll take a domain name that looks exactly like what you expect. And because you never actually type it, you just sort of click on a link somewhere, it looks official. And so when you go there, you see a web page that looks exactly like the actual web page, but the link to Telegram leads you to the wrong channel. So there you have to be really super careful with establishing authenticity about these communities and therefore the information that you derive. I mean, another area there where you can go wrong is they'll typically publish the contract addresses on the website. So if the website got spoofed and you landed on the spoofed website, you will have the wrong contract address and you'll be sending money to the wrong place and get scammed for it. So I'm sure Adrienne has some thoughts about that, because I've found that even I, who've been in this space for a long time and who have actually gotten scammed, believe it or not, uh, I
And
you
we,
know
we all have.
it's
It's literally
crazy.
the mark of the OG. If
It's
you have not lost money, you're not an OG.
yes, but I mean, look, like I've been in technology for 40 years, right now, probably
Yeah.
30, 35, right? And I just, the first time and the only time that I've gotten scammed, I just couldn't believe myself. Like, had I been that stupid? And I went back and tracked where the mistake was, right? And then you realize, gosh, you just have to be so careful. How
Yep.
is the public ever going to figure this out, right?
Well,
So,
and that's the thing. They have you clicking a link, and you're looking at the link, and you're looking at what they say you're clicking at. You hover over the link, and then you look at the bottom left-hand corner. And if that where it says you're about to go doesn't match where you think you're about to go, that's an indicator. So that's a fun one that I've learned. And then the other one, way back when Ethereum launched, Vitalik put the wallet number, the wallet address, on a piece of paper and held it up as a sign with him, because they kept getting hacked. The website kept getting hacked, and people kept changing the address. So that photo was like, make sure it's the photo that's his photo in, like, it was crazy.
but
So you
even
really
that
have
can
to
be
be careful.
doctored, right? I mean, you can
Yeah,
doctor that. So,
but they'd have to doctor it and hack the website and I mean it was like pretty active fighting back the whole time, trying to make sure that everything was done correctly. But yes, and then the other piece of that, what I do is I always go, like, back then it was only Etherscan, now I'm pretty much using Polygon, so Polyscan, verifying all of your contracts, making sure that your wallet is verified, your account is verified, and then you verify and certify each one of your smart contracts so that people will see the check mark. They'll see that this is the actual one. Because, like, in Billionaire Zombies Club, we probably have 30 plus every single day. I'm reporting 30 fake Billionaire Zombies Club or ancillary, either the meta crystals or the skeleton keys or whatever, fake collections. And OpenSea still won't verify us. And it's been, since October 31st. We first applied. I applied again on November 4th, no, November 10th, and then again on the 13th. And, like, I just keep applying, and they're not even responding, except for one response that said, "We're sorry it took so long to get back to you. If you still need a reply, please reply." I replied nothing for 30 days. So
I
it's crazy. So if anybody knows anyone at OpenSea that can back channel me to get me some blue checks, I would really appreciate it.
but I think that this kind of scamming is not unique to this form of technology. This
Oh
sort of
no.
spoofing has been going on for a long time. And just like you don't ever give your credit card number to somebody who calls you on the phone,
Right.
it's the same thing. You just have to be careful. And one of the tricks that I use is if I'm going to write to my credit card or whatever, I type the URL in the box, and then I know it's what I typed. It's not some, and I don't let it auto fill or auto finish for me. I know that what I typed is where I go. And it's that kind of common sense rules that unfortunately in our world you have to learn about now. That said, there are ways to get past it. And while it's daunting, I don't want to give anybody the idea that they shouldn't participate. It's just a buyer beware kind of thing.
Yes.
So I also wanted to see, Mariana was here for a moment, but I know that her power is out in Malibu. So I don't know if she's going to be back. But in any case, I would like to remind you that this is the Infiom Ask Me About NFTs, DeFi and DAOs, and this session is for you. So if you have a question, oh, I see somebody else has their hand up. Just raise your hand and come on up, and we would love to hear your questions. So I just let Krishnavir up. There you
Hey,
go.
hi
Did you have
guys.
a question, Krishna?
Yeah, I just have a very quick question.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Yeah, so how exactly is DAOs going to change the way work is being conducting in the present generation?
Ooh, that sounds like a question for you, Eric.
I love DAOs. DAO is basically it serves the same purpose as a corporation. So corporations have two primary functions. One is the control of the work of the collective, and the other is beneficial ownership. And DAOs give you both of these functions, but they give them to you in a slightly different package. Um, they allow you to vote for initiatives within the organization in an anonymous way because you're just a token holder, and by the nature of blockchains in general, there's anonymity there. And they allow you to benefit from the work of the DAO, again anonymously. But there are a host of other benefits because the DAO, because usually the way that um, corporations work is they're just a bunch of guys who get together and want to do something. And in order to do something and be able to have bank accounts and to be recognized as a single entity, they typically ask the permission of the sovereign in the land in which they live. So the sovereign keeps a register and attaches the name that they select for this organization to the names of the principals. And as a consequence, this organization is subject to the rules of the sovereign, which generally means reporting, obligations and a compliance burden and taxation and possible confiscation. And so this is where the DAOs differ because they have no legal existence in any jurisdiction. They don't ask for permission of the sovereign, and therefore they don't have any of those burdens. They don't have to pay taxes because who would they pay taxes to, right? They don't have to report on their earnings. They don't have to comply to securities rules, to really any set of rules, right? So they're wholly owned. They decide they're like Bitcoin in that Bitcoin is a protocol. A protocol is an agreement, right? A DAO is also an agreement, but it's agreement between the shareholders or the token holders, to be precise. So in my view, I think DAOs are going to eat the corporate world because corporations cannot possibly compete with DAOs when DAOs don't have all that burden that corporations carry. The issue there is that the DAOs have to touch the real world in some way, and there are a number of a number of projects that are approaching those touch points in various ways, including, for example, the fact that you can now get a DAO to get recognized by a sovereign, for example, in the case of Wyoming or Liechtenstein, where Liechtenstein will recognize the shares of a company that could essentially be tokens, in token form, in court. So that's a very exciting subject that has sort of yet to play out, but that's the general direction as I see it.
One more piece to add to that with the DAOs. It's very important. You know, we have been very fast and loose in the internet blockchain crypto arena when it comes to it's a DAO and just it's a DAO. Everything's it's all a DAO. Nobody's in charge. It's all a DAO, but it's really not necessarily a DAO unless you have that, like he was saying, the sovereign structure with like Wyoming. We're a DAO. We're actually formally a DAO LLC. If you're not, and there's ever any legal consequences to the actions of the group or the collective, then it is treated as a partnership and everyone is equally liable and guilty for the actions of everyone else. So it is very important when you're structuring a DAO to be very clear. Make sure you have, at the very least, articles of understanding. If you're not going to incorporate formally, what is the DAO? What are the powers? What are the rights? What are the responsibilities? That you're using an algorithmic method to do your proposals and your approvals so that it's all documented on the blockchain, what was agreed to, what wasn't agreed to, this, that, and the other, and how you're going to function with the treasury. Make sure that you have all that mapped out and it's not just a loosely structured, oh no, we're DAO, we're not liable for anything, because actually it's worse that way.
That's an excellent point, and anonymity will go a long way towards that, but it doesn't change the fact that you as an individual are within the jurisdiction of a sovereign. And that means that should your relationship to this DAO ever be discovered, you would be legally liable for that participation, which, as Adrian correctly pointed out, is treated as a partnership, right? So there's liability consequences there. There's potential criminal charges and all this kind of stuff. So in participating in a DAO as well as participating in many of the other blockchain projects, anonymity is really important, and therefore the concept of air gapping, right? Because in order to protect your the kind of anonymity that blockchains give you, you have to be responsible for more than just relying on that, pseudonymity. You have to be careful with your connections, how you interact with the blockchain in question, in terms of how you connect to the internet, what service providers, because basically the entire infrastructure, the entire IT infrastructure is owned and monitored by your sovereign, right? They know every packet that goes out, even if it's encrypted, and they can tell things from it. So you have to, if you're going to participate in a truly, decentralized way, you have to be careful with that.
It's the idea is, if you want to participate anonymously, you literally have to create an entire alter ego where that person and you yourself do not ever do anything in the same manner. You don't use the same cell phone, you don't use the same ISP. Your anonymous person is always going to VPN first to another country and function out of that country. Like, it is a dedication beyond the most religious zealot you have ever met in your entire life. I know several people who do it, who live that way. I don't know very many people who could and who could maintain it and keep it up long term. It is very, very difficult. So I just want to put that out there for people who are thinking they can, oh, I'll just do that. Uh-huh. It's like being keto or vegan or pick
Yep.
any zealot like obsession. It's difficult to keep up.
Yeah,
But
you need a level of knowledge about security systems that is a cut above what the average individual will have. But also the other thing to keep in mind is, um, governments have resource allocation problems, right? They can only go chasing so many things, and if what you're doing is small, if there's millions and billions of dollars involved, yeah, that'll get attention. That'll get the attention of a sovereign because it's worth chasing. Then they can throw money at at the issue because there's money there to be had. But if it's a small thing, you're basically in the middle of the herd, so to speak. Then you can afford to be lax about the security, because you really, this is called security through obscurity, right? But again, you know, it is possible to be safe, to play in these spaces in a safe manner, but like Adrian said, it's a full-time commitment to understanding the incredible complexities of our communication systems.
And the only people that I know who do it reliably and perfectly every time are my spooks. That's it. They're the only ones that I've ever seen pull it off for over a decade.
Eric, you've been waiting
Thanks a
patiently,
lot. Thanks a
and
lot.
I would love to see if you had a question or comment that you wanted to share.
Yes. Hi everyone. Adrian. Hopefully, I'm not butchering your name. I've had you speak in different rooms, and it's a pleasure to be on here. Um, my biggest question is when it comes to DeFi, can someone break down DeFi for me in terms of how would it be beneficial in the decentralized space? And as we talk about decentralized, I really feel like maybe that will end if the government takes over this space, or there's a lot of bureaucratic policies that may, you know, try to regulate blockchain. And do you guys see that? Do you guys see that happening at all? And then when it comes to NFTs, I'm in the real estate world. I'm trying to see how would one incorporate NFTs. It just seems like it's for artists, and whether they're painters or musicians that could benefit from that, or how can one in the real estate world benefit from NFTs? Those are my
Okay.
questions for now.
Okay. First off, DeFi. In the United States, constitutionally, we have the right to private contracts, which means they can't actually stop peer to peer finance. They can put in regulation to prevent fraud and abuse and protect the small investor and make it a little bit more difficult, but they can't stop peer to peer finance. And now that we have figured out, oh, the banks are actually making 20 to 70% APY, and they're paying us on our savings 0.05% or whatever, half a percent, maybe 2% if we're like really, really lucky and we're giving them $1 million to play with. So we've basically figured out that that's where the banks are getting all their money. That's where their big golden parachutes are. And that's why the CEOs are making, 8, 9 figure paychecks. So I think DeFi is here to stay. When it comes to staking and things like that, you have to look at what is the underlying revenue source. So if you're going to stake some money and they are going to use that money for what? So there are multiple different ways of doing DeFi. One of them is called magic internet money, where basically somebody is going to mint 1 billion tokens. You are going to give them X amount of Ethereum to buy their tokens and then stake those tokens, and they are going to give you magic internet money as rewards. And that magic internet money only has value because you keep giving them Ethereum in order to buy more tokens, but there's really no there. In contrast, you have other companies that are doing yields and loans like Curve and oh, there's another one, Yield and Yearn. That's it. So we have other DeFi protocols that really are DeFi, and they are basically doing arbitrage. You are staking your funds at 8%, and they are loaning your funds out at 12%. That math works forever. A lot of these DeFi protocols and the hedge funds that go out there and they search, they have algorithmic searches looking for every single new DeFi pool. Why? Because the first 24 months, they usually only last about 24 months, but the first 6 months are like gangbusters, like 1,200% APY. And I have several hedge funds that I work with that do this. They go out and they find these new protocols, they invest in them early and heavily, and they make a ton of return on it. And then they move on to the next ones. So those you never know if they're going to last or not last because they're not 24 months old, but the longevity of it really looks like when you look at the math, it looks like they'll peter out probably about 24 months. So the other thing is when you have like a real business, right? Like there are a couple of protocols out there that are based on real business models that really do make money. And so when they're staking, you're actually funding that operation, and that operation is actually able to use that money and kick off even more proceeds. So instead of them funding other people's loans, they're kind of funding their own operations in those loans. So that's also legitimate. So you just have to be able to determine, how are they getting their money? Is it a black box and magic internet money? Or is it actually a real functional business with real operations and a real world use case? When it comes to NFTs and real estate, there's multiple things. We do titles in Wyoming. Actually, not real estate related, but we put marriage licenses on NFTs here in Nevada. So there's a lot of things you can do. You can also, instead of selling stock or shares, you can actually sell ERC 721. Each individual token is a share in and of itself. And you can divide up a piece of real estate and sell those as security tokens. They're not fractionalized, they're one token is, one share. And you can do that as an LLC with 100 different pieces, so 100%, 100 shares. Or you can do it just like you would with stock, and you have this many pieces of stock, this many shares of stock. The great part about it, and the reason that the venture funds and all of the big money institutional investors like it, is because when you invest, especially like $100 million commercial real estate property, then you're stuck until it's finished building, it's sold out, and you get your return in 5 to 10 years. Same thing with an equity investment in any kind of startup. But with an STO using an ERC 721, which is an NFT, you actually are liquid within 12 months based on your SAFT agreement. So you're much more liquid, much more cleanly and easily tradable because it's an Ethereum based token. So you have 7 million, thousand, trillion dexes all over the world, and super easy to transact.
Wow.
Was that helpful?
You
You
never
got
cease
all
to
that,
amaze
Eric?
me. Wow. I need to write faster, but I'm glad you have it on replay.
Yeah.
Very helpful, Miss Ashley. Or Mrs. Ashley. I'm gonna have to play this replay over and over to get all that down, but
I
I'm
will give
following you.
I
So
will I will give Clubhouse the recommendation because Otter.ai is freaking fabulous. When you have things on replay, you can literally play it, and then on another device or your laptop or whatever, you can have Otter.ai, and it will listen and transcribe it for you. And it's like $12 a month for 600 hours of transcription. Like, you'll never go through it all. And
awesome.
you can have I think you can have 10 hours of transcription for free every month. So,
Hi,
and it's pretty accurate.
Hi, Mariana. Do you want to introduce yourself? Welcome. Oh, I don't know if you can hear me, Mariana. Oh, she's
I
gone
think
again.
her power is going back and
Yeah,
forth.
she's having
Yeah,
issues.
yeah. So, I also wanted to mention that there was an article that was in our newsletter about, after the major crypto sell-off, why did DeFi stay so sticky? And one of the things that they talk about is that there was a pullback across crypto markets last weekend, and Bitcoin and Ether fell fairly significantly for a while, but DeFi's value locked figure seemed to stay closer to the line. And I wanted to know, Adrienne and Eric, if you had any thoughts about why that is and why DeFi is an interesting way to buy coin. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, there's an effect to the DeFi world in terms of valuations, right? But a lot of the DeFi players are over collateralized, so that means that you could have as much as a 50% drop in value, and it still doesn't really affect the underlying asset. So traditionally, if I borrow money, for example, from any of these DeFi um, platforms, I have to collateralize it with, let's just say, Bitcoin, right? And so if I'm borrowing $100, I have to give them $150 worth of Bitcoin, and that means that Bitcoin can fall and lose 1/3 before I get a margin call. What happens at that point is that I have to ante up more collateral, because the value of the collateral that I posted has decreased, and so that or else face liquidation on the position. So liquidation can, for those who borrowed because they needed access to cash and had a position that they didn't want to get rid of, they you know they might face situations where they have to get liquidated and are going to be very unhappy about it because they just can't come up with additional collateral, and those sales would create further downward pressure on the underlying asset, right? But most people understand that mechanism and are prepared to ante up additional collateral. So it creates greater stability and it creates stickiness as well. And it also, there's a whole other aspect to this which I would include in DeFi, but it's the derivatives markets, right? So for example, you have the options chains on the asset can create gamma pressures. For example, let's say that I sell calls on Bitcoin for $100,000 a coin, and that means that every the other side of the transaction, every time that I buy a call, there's a seller there who may be manufacturing out of thin air, and they have to be collateralized because everything in DeFi is collateralized, which means that they have to go buy Bitcoin, right? So whereas a call costs maybe 10% or less, 5%, I don't know, depending on the volatility, what your premium is, it means that the calls themselves are super cheap, and it's a way of creating additional demand for the underlying. So that works on the way up. On the way down, it's the same thing, but with puts. So I think that gives the the field stickiness, right? Because you kind of, in some ways, are price insensitive. You don't really. Those are my thoughts on the subject.
And now it's my turn to say I'm glad that was recorded because, yep, that was brilliant. And I only got about 30% of it.
I mean, it's a big subject, to be honest.
Yep.
No, that's what I'm saying. When you're talking about, I mean, I get margin calls. I get, staking this and borrowing 30% or 50. I totally get that. Then you start talking about these options and the pressure and the this and that. And I go, oh, now we're in technical analysis. I build stuff. I let other people trade it. Like that's why I'm so glad you're on the stage here, because that is so not me or my zone of genius.
All right, guys, unfortunately, I have to run. I have to take a call, but it's been great being here, and I hope my input was useful.
It was. Thank you so much, Eric. Have a great day.
Okay, take care.
Mariana, I don't know if you can stay with us to introduce yourself. I don't know if you've got a stable connection.
Yeah, I finally got to the other end of Malibu, the little village I live in that has no electricity anywhere. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hi. So thanks, Jeanette, for moderating, and Adrian and Eric. I heard a little bit of the last contribution. Very exciting. We have a lot of the sessions that were taped over this 6 months period. We've been on Clubhouse on our YouTube channel. So if you just click on our website up there, you can go to our YouTube channel, and we have all the presentations from the Zoom salons. These are short. These are about a few minutes to maybe 20-30 minutes long, depending on the presenters, but mostly 5 minutes long. And then we have these Clubhouse tapings that we did before. You can even replay the Clubhouse, and there's tremendous information from everyone on this panel today. And the information is just building on each other. So when people ask me, how do I learn about this space, what should I read, where should I go, what class should I take, this is a living, breathing organism that changes every day. And the more you listen to, and the more sessions you go to, and the more things you tune in on the Clubhouse or on our YouTube channel, the better and better you start to understand the playing field. And it's supposed to be a level playing field, but you got to learn it to be on a level playing field, if that makes any sense. So that's my contribution. after getting some electricity. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mariana. Elsa, you've been waiting a while. Do you have a question or a comment?
Actually, I had a question. Thank you for listening to me, and hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi. I wanted to find out more about, I guess, getting into this space. I'm very, very new to it. Actually, I'm asking more so for my husband, who's an artist. He does mixed media art and really interested in the NFT. Question really is more so about Mariana just talked about learning everything you can. And sometimes it can be so overwhelming with all the information, and you don't know which direction to go. So, my question is, where do you really start to get in the space as a mixed media artist or any type of artist? What would you recommend the go to? Because there's so much information. Again, it can be so overwhelming. That's my question. I'm complete. Thank you.
You're welcome, Elsa. So this is a good place. And our YouTube channel, as Mariana said, is just chock full of information. This Tuesday Clubhouse in particular is designed for people to just ask basic questions. So this is a good place to start. And Adrian, I know, also has some additional resources that can help you with that. We will be developing some coursework very soon. That's going to be coming out in probably a month or so. And Mariana, did you want to talk about the program we have coming up, or are we going to hold off on that a little bit?
Well, yes. So we have a couple of programs coming up as well. First of all, Adrian has a class on the platform about NFTs. You know, she has to tape it like yesterday, and you have to listen to it. So does Jeanette. And, you know, there are people doing marketing talks about NFTs. There are people doing business development, fundraising, how to become a collector. We're working on all of these classes, and they're by the people on this panel. So you can start with that and then get to know them, and then as you feel familiar with them and you feel like you're learning from them, you can maybe start working with them on a consulting basis. Some of them only deal with ventures. You know, I know we have these two programs. One is how to build a venture in the space called Infiom Boost, which is about, you know, creating a next generation unicorn. But we also have a little NFT boost. It's not really sort of for beginning kind of NFT ventures. It's more for larger companies trying to kind of do NFT drops. But you know, you may get to participate in one of the ventures that are being built on the Clubhouse as we, you know, discuss it today. I wish Terry was here. She's working on one with Chris. You know, Bitcoin is king. That, you know, you may be part of the first NFT drop and kind of learn from that. You may be an artist and gets involved with that drop, you know, at a later date. You may invest in few things. I wish Carlos was here today to talk about all the different investments he's made. So really, it is what resonates with you and with your husband, you know, where you want to get in. Obviously, it's an economy where he can earn a living and can invest in the economy that he's building as well as you. So you just have to decide, you know, do I want to trade crypto and NFTs? Do I want to build them? Do I want to be part of a venture that's building them? Do I want to be part of the community that's building them? And what resources do I have to bring to that community? So basically the answer is there's a lot of options, right, for you guys to kind of think through this.
That's great. Thank you. And I'll add on to that. So, some concrete next steps. Depending on the type of art that your husband does he already have a following, or does he need to create a following? He does have a following, but it's mostly Perfect. on Instagram. Oh, great. Perfect. Instagram is totally NFT friendly. Okay. So, step one, create a following. There is nothing worse than releasing into a vacuum. Because then nobody buys, I mean, I'm an influencer. I have a ridiculous reach, but not as an artist. And my foundation piece still hasn't sold, which irks me to no end. So you need to create a following. You need to create a rabid fan base. You need to educate them. So start doing carousels on Instagram on how they can register for your drop, how they can get on the wait list, how they can, and you want to get them on an email list, you want to get them on an SMS list, and you want to start creating that viral, like that FOMO. of something's going to drop and I may or may not get some if I don't take these steps to make sure I get on the whitelist so I'm at the front of the line. So that sorry, my phone rang. The technical aspect of doing the actual drop, depending on the size of your thing. If you really want to, like, I don't know how to code and I need help, great. Nifty Kit is my favorite. It's $10 a month, $40 per collection, and you can do it on Polygon. And then it does everything for you. Everything's great. You'll have your own little marketplace, your own little window, your own little store. It's fabulous. You can then use your own domain name and just do a CNAME redirect if that's Greek, I'm sorry, but you can basically make your Nifty Kit page an actual thing on your own website. Then on top of that, you can go to OpenSea, which is where 98% of all of the buyers go. And this is why I tell everybody, if you're going to launch on Solana or on Hikanunk or on anything other than Polygon and Ethereum, you're literally losing 98%. So Ethereum, your gas fees are going to be outrageous. It's fine if you're talking about a $20,000 piece and you have the buyers to support that. Then they don't care if they're paying 80 or 100 or $300 in gas. If you're talking about regular people and your prices for your NFTs are $30 to $100 or even $200, I tried to buy a $30 NFT on Ethereum and it was $350 in gas. And I'm like, well, I'm clearly not buying this. So Polygon is the best part. So then you go over to OpenSea, you pay about 47 cents to sign a contract that allows you to take ETH on Polygon, so not just Matic. And then there you go. You're selling on OpenSea where everybody already is. And then you're also selling on your own website, which is where you want to drive all your own traffic because you want to own your SEO. So the number one thing you want to do is control your audience. Then you use a tool called Sociatap, SOCIATAP.com. If you look at my link in bio, you can see mine. This is the best place. They literally have a way to sell NFTs directly from your link in bio. And then you can send people to all of your socials. You can get their email opt-ins. You can do all sorts of things from there. But people tend to click less. Every click results in like an 80% reduction in sale. So you want them to click the least number of times possible. Having everything in one link in bio is really, really helpful. So using your Nifty Kit, transferring it over to OpenSea so you can sell on OpenSea so you get those buyers' eyeballs of people who don't know you, as well as developing and recruiting your own raving fan base. And then you can also do giveaways. If you want to, depending on how old you are, I think Discord is like Slack on crack. It makes me crazy, makes me cry. However, if you're going to do any kind of generative thing or a community project, the number one thing you're going to want to do is have a way for that community to start to band together. But like we have 23,000 members in our Billionaire Zombies Club. I'm now taking all of those people and training them how to do tweet chats, how to dominate Instagram, how to do things on TikTok and all of these different. I'm deploying them out into cyberspace on behalf of the project because when they're in Discord, they're in their happy little paradise, all talking to each other. It doesn't help you with marketing. So I'm creating viral giveaways for them and little access things for them to give them extra in order to help promote us. So that's my advice.
Thank you so much for that advice. That's so valuable. So valuable. Thank you.
It really
Really appreciate it. It's a
is.
lot, but
It really is.
That's why it's being recorded.
Yeah.
it's a lot, but I have to listen to it so many times. Thank you so much. I
Okay.
really appreciate it.
And if you listen to the YouTube channel, there's some just like pearls of wisdom for Adrian, I would say over the 6 month period. It's almost like having, known her for a while now. It's very difficult to explain all the knowledge that Adrian actually has as one human being in this space.
It's
But
a
as
lot.
you it's a lot. And then as you start to listen to it, you start to unpack the layers of, kind of knowledge and information that you need to start building, effective businesses and participating in this economy. So that was great, Adrian. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shax, you've been waiting patiently, and I want to make sure we get to you. It'll probably be the last question or comment of the day, but go ahead.
Hey there, I'm not really sure if you can really hear me properly as I'm driving.
No, we can hear you. It's fine.
Okay, perfect. I kind of like joined in maybe like 5 minutes ago, so I didn't really manage to hear everything that was going on there. But to be honest, I've always wanted to know more about NFTs in terms of the music industry, because that's the industry that I'm working in. And to be honest, even though there is so much information out there, I really haven't gone about really understanding how I could utilize that to, benefit from it essentially. So if you got any information regarding NFTs in terms of the music industry, I would really love to, benefit from that, and I'm all ears.
I I could do it. You want me to do it?
Go ahead, Adrian.
Okay. So I have a bunch of platinum selling Grammy and winning artists that I am designing NFT communities for. So here's the key with music. People are thinking it's just Audius, or, I also did Musiconomy and the Music Coin a million years ago, it feels like. So it's not just about getting paid to play music. It's not just about royalties direct from music. The key piece, the real moneymaker, and the way to really go big with NFTs for music is to transition your fan base off of social media, where you could be deplatformed at any moment, and into your own private gated community where that NFT is their access pass. And then depending on the level, whether it's common, uncommon, rare, super rare, it gives them a different level of access. So you have alternate things that you can do. One, you can just sell passes or NFTs that are more like concert tickets and do concerts in the metaverse. Or you can do more gamified packs. So every single album, every song has a different card, and all the different cards are in like baseball card packs, and people have to buy the pack, and then that inspires trading because everybody's trying to collect an entire album. Once they get the entire album, then that unlocks a secret song. So those are some gamified things that you can do. Then the other piece of that is your merch, right? As an artist, one of the biggest ways you make money is your merch. So when you do these concerts in the metaverse, you have your general admission tickets. That is going to get them to the general admission merch table. If they buy a VIP ticket, then they get to the VIP merch table, which can have limited edition versions of your t-shirts or your swag or whatever it is for the metaverse, especially t-shirts in the metaverse. And say you only have 100 for this one concert in this VIP merch table, and only 7 people buy them. You burn the other 93. Now there's only 7. That makes those super valuable, which is why people will pay the extra money to get to the VIP level of your concerts. Then you can also have like backstage pass with meet and greet, and it's meet and greet in the metaverse. So you're still not, it's not even COVID dangerous. It's in the metaverse, right? Like, and you can totally have your avatar doing these meet and greets. You literally can have these pictures done, just like they snap pictures with the meet and greets, and you NFT those and airdrop them to the people. So that's like an extra special commemorative, I was here. And it goes along with, we all keep our VIP backstage passes, like those big monster things. I've got hundreds of those. So all those types of merch that you collect that become memorabilia in the real world can also be in the metaverse, and they can be done using NFTs. But that access pass piece, here's the other super secret kicker. We're doing this for a couple of our artists where part of that NFT, it allows them to download a wallet pass, and the wallet pass is like their membership access, but it's also a two-way communication device. So not only do they have a direct access to their unlockable content, we have direct access with geolocation pinging to them, which means when we do a pop-up concert, which we do all the time, we can literally push notify Dallas plus 50 or Dallas plus 100 or LA plus 25, like wherever they happen to be. And anybody in that geo fenced area will get a push notification that we're about to do a pop up, and they'll get access to buy tickets. If we're doing a bigger concert, they'll get push notified before even American Express Black Card holders get the option to buy through Ticketmaster. So this is a way to sell out concerts like never before.
Yeah, you got all that, Jax? That was a lot of great
Yeah,
info right there.
that was a lot of information in such a short time as well. I really appreciate that.
You're
I've actually managed to drive and at the same time follow you on Instagram, so I'll probably try to be in contact and try to finish this conversation probably later on. Thanks for the time, anyways, and I think it's a great room. I hope you do more of these, and so I could actually learn more of all you guys, really, everyone in this room. Really
Well,
knowledgeable. I appreciate it.
no problem. Don't forget to check the replays because Adrian spews out brilliance at a very rapid rate. So, replay is your friend. Um, unfortunately, we
It's
are
nice.
We are
I
almost.
really
Oh, go ahead.
no, sorry. It's a bit difficult to turn off the mic off and on again. But what I was gonna say is that like I really loved it that like she went to the, actual information rather than just like talking for like probably an hour, just like many other rooms. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, it's our pleasure. And
I'm
I'm so excited. We had so many great questions today, but unfortunately, we are out of time. And I'm going to encourage you to come back next Tuesday at 10 o'clock, and we will take any questions we didn't get to this time. I've got an eye on you that are in the list, and I will let you in first. And thank you so much for being here. Make sure you go to infiom.com and join our mailing list so that you get our fabulous newsletter and you know when all of the amazing things that we are doing are happening. And I
And
also
come
want to,
tomorrow, right?
yeah, and
1:30.
1:30 tomorrow, right? We're going to be talking about creating unicorns in the space. And I want to thank Adrian and Mariana and Eric, who has left, for all of your fabulous participation.
Thank you, Jeanette. Awesome job, everyone. And thanks for joining us. And we make these very short so you can listen to a 1 hour Clubhouse session on YouTube and not, you can kind of play it in the background. So we don't have, 10-hour rooms there. These are 1 hour rooms. So short and sweet, and you can find what you need and listen to it again. So thanks, everyone, for coming.
Bye bye
Thank
now.
you.
Bye.
Bye.